In this video, I'm gonna tell you why this little camera is one of the best cameras I have ever bought. Hi guys, my name is Matti Sulanto. I'm a photographer and a Lumix ambassador, and in this video I'm gonna talk about this little camera that I bought just some weeks ago, but I already like it a lot. It's one of the best cameras I have ever bought. And I'm also going to share my favorite settings for this camera, just in case you have the same camera or you are planning to buy the same camera. And this camera is the GoPro Hero8 or 8 Hero, whatever, either way. And it really is one of the best cameras I have ever bought. But of course, this is not going to replace any of my bigger cameras. I bought this for a very specific purpose, and this is a niche camera for me. But it appears already after just some weeks of use that I really needed this, and I should have bought this camera already a long time ago. And like I said, I bought this camera for a very specific purpose. And that very specific purpose is when I go outside and film these YouTube videos. I don't always want to take my big camera, and I needed something compact, weatherproof, and extremely easy to use camera for that kind of use, so that I can take out the camera anywhere, anytime, and start filming. And it looks like I made the right choice when I picked up this one. And now I'm going to share some things that I like about this camera and some things that I don't like. But let's start with the good stuff, the things that I really like about this camera. Okay, the first thing obviously is that this is a tiny camera. It can fit anywhere in my pocket or in my camera bag, even with this small GorillaPod tripod. It can fit into my coat pocket or in my camera bag really easily, and it's easy to pull out anywhere and start filming. And the second thing that I like about this camera is that it's really super easy to use. You just turn on the power, hit the record button, and that's it. You don't have to do anything else. Just you can start filming anywhere, anytime. And the third thing that I like is that it's weather sealed. You can even submerge this camera and it can take it without any accessories. And that is really great because over here in Finland where I live, the weather is most of the time quite rainy, even cold, or it can snow or whatever. And with this camera, I don't have to worry about that. I can film in any weather I like to, and it's very likely that this camera can take more bad weather than I can take. And the fourth thing, the fourth thing that I like about this camera is the image quality. In good light, the image quality is really good. And there are also a lot of options for the image quality, or plenty of options for the image quality. So you can use some custom settings to fine-tune the image quality. And I'm gonna get back to those in a bit, and I share my favorite settings for the image quality that I think work really well. And then about the bad stuff, things that I don't like. And the first is the image quality in low light. It's not very good. And I understand it's a small sensor camera, it can't be really good, but at least you have to understand if you get one of these that it's not a great low light camera. The image quality in lowish light is okay, but it's not great. And the next thing is the battery life, which is not great. And I also understand it's a small camera, the battery can't be that big, but still you pretty much need at least one extra battery. Otherwise you're gonna be in trouble, because the battery life is not great, and especially in cold weather it's even worse. So that's something to keep in mind if you want to get one of these. You're gonna need at least one extra battery. And now that I mentioned the extra battery, one of the downsides of this camera is that you're gonna need some accessories. They're almost mandatory. and those accessories are super expensive. I mean, just the audio adapter, there's a USB adapter available, but that's something like 70 or 80 euros or dollars. That's ridiculous. Some people complain about Apple accessories that they are expensive, but there is a similar audio adapter available for iPhones, and that's like 10 euros or dollars or something. So it's only a fraction of the similar USB audio adapter available for this camera. I think it's ridiculously expensive. But if you want decent audio, you need some sort of adapter so you can connect the proper microphone on this camera. And then there's the media mod that I bought, which is also ridiculously expensive, and it's even not that well designed. There are two cold shoes on the media mod, but the cold shoes are only open at one end, and I think they should be open at both ends so you could slide your whatever accessory into the shoe from either side. And when I bought mine, I customized it right away, and I filed off some of the plastic so I can slide my audio receiver in the hot shoe or on the hot shoe from either side. And one more thing. If you have your GoPro set up like this, the camera is on the medium mode and the whole thing is mounted on a Gorilla Pod or tripod or whatever pod, which is a very likely scenario because you are probably not going to hold the camera in your hand, you are going to mount it on something. And then you realize it's time to replace the battery or the memory card. And that's going to be a major task because you can't just, pull the camera out of the media mode, because the camera mounting bracket comes through the media mod. You first unscrew the mounting screw, then you fold in the mounting bracket, and now you can pull out the camera and replace the battery or the memory card. And this is such a stupid design. I can't understand why they did not include a mounting bracket on the bottom of the media mod. That would make this so much better product. So you are pretty much going to need 2 batteries and a charger for those batteries, and then at least the audio adapter or the media mod. And you can easily spend 150 euros or dollars for those. And that's quite a lot of extra money on top of the price of the camera. And here are the image quality settings that I like to use, and of course these are the settings that I like to use, and if you have one of these cameras, please experiment with the different options too, because you may not like the same settings that I like. But I like to share these because this camera has so many options and settings that you may not be aware of all the settings that the camera has. At least I was surprised to find out how many different settings or options there are in this camera. But now let's finally talk about the settings. The video quality that I like to use is 4K 50p because I can use that as a slow motion B-roll also if I like to. And then I chose the highest bitrate option so I get the best possible video quality, the image quality. And then I chose the flat color profile because in my opinion that produces the best and least processed looking pictures straight out of camera. And I used the medium sharpening option because it also gives me the best looking footage straight out of camera. It's a little bit too much sharpened to my taste, but it looks the best straight out of camera, best of the options that are here. And then I set my white balance manually every time, because if the white balance changes in the middle of the clip, it always looks a bit funny, and I don't like that. That's why I always like to set my white balance manually when I start shooting. And if you hear some rumbling noise or something, it comes from there somewhere, I don't know what it is. And then I like to set the exposure compensation to -1. And I find that in most situations that gives me the best looking footage combined with these other settings that I just told you. And I think one of the reasons is that with the -1 exposure compensation, I don't get so many blown out highlights, which always looks kind of ugly if there are a lot of blown out highlights in the video. But if you have a strong backlight situation, then I recommend to set it to 0. But all the other footage, try the -1 setting. In my opinion, it gives the best results. This camera has a lot of other settings as well, but I'm not gonna go into those in this video because I think those image quality settings are the most important to understand so you can get the most out of this little camera. I would also like to know if you own the GoPro 8 or any GoPro model and what kind of user experience you have had with your GoPro. Please leave a comment down below. Thank you so much for watching and I'll see you in the next video.